I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, some pieces that are special to us, like fruitcake tins. Amazing how things survive. This is the 2-pound tin I was telling you about earlier. That's a rare piece. The 2-pound one's hard to find. The bigger one, the 5 pound's easy to find. These were given to the grocers to display our fruitcakes in. We went in the stores and people could order the fruitcakes. Inside here is an actual fruitcake. This fruitcake, marked in DC. You see it. 1920s. It's still good. It still smells good. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat it, but if you're starving, it wouldn't poison you. But boy, can you imagine? You know that fruitcake's almost 100 years old. Is it amazing? Still on its original wrap. We also, I'm going to show you the oldest fruitcake in existence. If I can get it off here in a minute. See if I can find it here. I don't know if it's not where I got that right now. I'll get to it later. Here's some nice pieces. We had some beautiful tins over the years. All kinds of containers. These are nice, 2 different ones. We got Scotch shortcake. Beautiful bucket, beautiful tin. Anita Baker's. Probably 1920s. It's very colorful. Scotch shortcake. But then we didn't know, but they also made, they had the oat Scotch oat cake. Containers look just alike, except one's Scotch oat, the other one's Scotch shortcake. Neat, 2 different ones. Some of the most, I'd say the rarest pieces are the famous tins. Let's see here. This is the rarest famous tin that I know of that National Biscuit put out, and it's for whole wheat cookies. Never knew about it. You see the chocolate, you see the ginger snaps, you see the butter cookies. You never see the whole wheat cookies. Rare, rare piece. Mark Anita, 1920s. History, lucky just to have it. The history's amazing on this. The some of the other neat things are, this is a fruitcake tin put out by Holmes and Coutts. This fruitcake tin is late 1880s. Holmes and Coutts biscuit manufacturers. This is from, where are they at here? Anyway, the tin's beautiful. This tin years ago was valued at about $700. And there's the inside of it. It's pre-Nabisco. You have a bunch of the small tins. If it was put out, Nabisco put it out, it was classy. Everything was made to keep. How about the Hub butter crackers? Inner seal on the end, never been opened. Hub butter crackers. Canesbridge Port in Chicago. Kennedy National Biscuit Company. It tells you how old it is. Probably about 1900. But it was a Kennedy product. Kennedy's Hub butter crackers. Still got the paper overlay on it. Absolutely gorgeous. Another piece I never knew much about and found one. And we got the graham crackers stand-up over I showed you. This is a lunch pail that National Biscuit put out. And it's on that graham cracker stand-up over there with the kids on it. Now that one over there has a wrap around it with little girls and boys on it on their bikes. This one, the wrap's gone because it's been opened. But it was a lunch pail, and on the bottom, NBC Unita. You'd never know that's Nabisco if you didn't look at the bottom. A lunch pail. Never knew they had it, but they did. Just a ton of things. Let's see, what other neat one do I want to show you? Here's a nice one that you don't find, you don't see very often. It's very, very beautiful. Nita Baker's creamy cheese flakes, and look at that. Look at the tin. The cracker had Nita Baker's, and they had cheesy crackers inside it. Marked National Biscuit, NBC Unita, 1920s. Look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful tins I think that we have. And it's for Nita Baker's creamy cheese flakes. Small. It had 13 ounces in it. And absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. You couldn't want a more beautiful tin. I'm getting the 3 original containers out that started the whole thing. I'll show you these. These are so rare to have all 3 of them. This was called a Pandora's box. It's got a handle on it, got a latch, not marked anywhere on the outside. National Biscuit, chrome's beautiful. But if you open it up, get it open here, and get the thing open. There was an insert inside it that went on, and it read National Biscuit Company, Pandora's reception box. Now, this box was given to the stockholders of National Biscuit Company in about 1912 by Adolphus Green. He gave them this container, and it's a Pandora's reception box, National Biscuit Company. A nice piece. You don't see them too often, but it's a nice piece. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a piece that started the company on the road to being #1, and they never looked back. In 1912, National Biscuit Company released 3 products on the same day. That was an unusual occurrence because they never hardly released 3 products the same day. But on this day in 1912, they did. This box, Oreo Biscuit. Oreo Biscuit, National Biscuit Company. This was one of them they released on that day in 1912. The second one they released, Mother Goose Cookies, released the same day as Oreo in 1912. Paper label, tin, lift-off lid for Mother Goose Cookies. They had a couple different ones with Mother Goose. They've got one that's pretty, that's got the goose that she's actually flying on it. It's pretty, got the goose flies. The third one, and maybe the rarest of those, of the 3, Veronese Biscuit, National Biscuit Company. Paper label, tin. It's got a glass front top that you can open and reach in and get the cookies. Veronese Biscuit. Veronese Biscuit, Mother Goose Cookies, and Oreo Cookies, released on the same day in 1912. When National Biscuit Company released these 3 products that day, they thought Mother Goose Cookies would be the winner, that it would carry them into the next century as being their best-selling product. Well, we know now, looking back this many years later, that Mother Goose Cookies was not what carried them into the future. But in fact, Oreo Cookies did just that. So of the 3 released, Veronese, Mother Goose, and Oreo, Oreo carried the company forward, and we're still producing it now, over 102 years later. Now, having all three of them is a rare thing. You can't hardly find them. This Veronese is a rare bird. I've only know, that's the only one I know of. Oreo, they had it. I have it in the green label. They also had an orange label. I think mine's green. No, mine's orange. You got a green one. Here's another pretty piece. How about Golden Sponge Rusk? National Biscuit Company, Anita Baker's. Look at that container. Is that beautiful? Marked NBC, Anita. Absolutely gorgeous. Very, very nice. Signs, they, you know, National Biscuit, they were tied in with the movies. Lorna Doone, You'll Enjoy Lorna Doone, starring Barbara Hale, colored by Technicolor, a Columbia picture, 1950s, late 1940s, early 1950s. So that's a shelf topper, nice. National Biscuit Company had some of the absolutely most beautiful containers that have ever been released. I mean, they just screamed at you. They're beautiful. The ones I want to show you, if I can find them here real quick. Oh, here they are. Here they are. I'll keep talking, although I'm out of the picture, I can talk. The little tin boxes that read Nabisco, National Biscuit Company, Adora, Anola, and different ones, they're neat. They're all neat. I want to show you these for a reason. Okay. Hope you can see me again. Hope this is high enough with my head showing up. Presume it is. These are the containers National Biscuit. They're little tin containers, soldered edges. They put them out, and I'm sure there's more that I don't have because they put Doris cookies out. They put different women's names out over the years. I don't have a lot of those. I have some, but I don't have a lot. Nabisco on top of the tin. I don't know how good that shows up. This one may show up a little better. Little metal tin. Galvanized or metal tin with soldered edges. Pretty container. They stood the test of time. 1900. Here's the first container that Prissy and I ever got. When we started our collecting in 1973, she bought this container for me at an auction at the fairgrounds here in Louisville. And it's an Anola tin. This piece started our collection. And we treasure it because it's the first one we ever had. There again, it's real thin. Anola sugar wafers. And inside, they're beautiful. They're metal, soldered seams, soldered ends. This piece started our collection 41 years ago. Now, why I wanted to show you this is, here's another one. Let's see here. Here's a beautiful one. Here's Adora. We have Anola. There's Adora. That was another one of their sugar wafers, Adora. And there again, still got the wrapper inside it. But Adora. That's a nice piece too. Now what I wanted to show you is, I showed you here's one too that we had. This one's National Biscuit Company. All of them sugar wafers. They might have had a different flavor, the cookie, but they were basically a sugar wafer base. National Biscuit Company. This tin was put out in probably 1901, 2, or 3. So we're talking 110 years old. Now, to open this up, like I'm going to do, just drop something. To open this up and show you inside, it's still got the cookies inside it. There's the insert. Has a lot of oil on it from the cookies, but you're talking 12 years old. There's the cookies. Inside, wrapped in the paper. And when you pull the paper back, you'll see what the Lotus, Inside that National Biscuit Company tin. Okay. Inside the tin was packed Lotus sugar wafers. Hope you can see that, Lotus. And they're probably packed, looks like 2 to 3 deep. You know, to find these still in the tin 112 years later is a tribute both to National Biscuit Company but also to the people who packaged these in 1900. So if you think things don't survive, they do. How this survived, I don't know. Where it was at, I don't know. Somebody cared enough about this to never eat it. It stayed in the container. Lotus. Now, again, Nabisco. A little thicker container on the ends, probably an inch. If you compare it with the one I just held up, which was Lotus wafers. They're almost the same size, but some of them are thinner than this. Now, if you open up Nabisco, inside, again, never opened, never eaten. Inside are the sugar wafers, Nabisco sugar wafers, at least 112 years old. No bugs, no infestation. It smells just like the other one. It opened your sinuses up. 112 years old, still got the cookies in it. Where has this piece been? We have no idea. All we know is we found them and they're full, which is amazing. I mean, I can't even imagine how they could have survived in this, still being in this condition. So that's neat. They're neat. Still have the cookies in them after all these years. Very, very unusual. There's a lot of other things on here, you know, paper labels, whatever. We have, you know, this is neat. National Biscuit Company was always into sponsoring the kids programs, like with Straight Arrow and with, you know, Sky King. They also supported the Boy Scouts. A salute from Nabisco to Boy Scouts. 50th anniversary. I'd say late 1940s. I don't know when the Boy Scouts started. Maybe early 1950s. Boy Scouts might have started around 1900. I don't know. 50th anniversary, and the cookies are still in here, full pack. You can tell by the seal. It's more of a football shape, more, you know, rounded. They changed this to more oblong in 1950. So this is before 49 or 50. It had National Biscuit Company in the corner with the triangle. That's a nice piece too for Boy Scouts. Let's see here. There's a ton of things you could show. I'm just kind of trying to spotlight a few of them that are neat. Here's one I really like. I'll bring out. That's neat. We'll just go put them out. Get back here when you read it. Champagne wafers. National Biscuit Company in a flag, like a stamp, like on the corner. Neater than heck. With a champagne bottle. Champagne wafers. National Biscuit Company. That's nice. Let's see here. Sign cards are worth keeping. I keep a lot of this stuff. This piece here, this Fig Newton piece, was put out. It's newer. You could lay this on the floor in a grocery store. Go in and want to sell a Fig Newton display. And, you know, it's newer, but it's worth keeping. And what you could do is, you could tell the grocer, hey, I'd like to sell you a new display. And you got to show them what the display looked like. Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. Profit packer. You could drop it on the floor, and that's the amount of floor space it took up to give you that display. Kind of neat. Nothing unusual. They had samples they put out. When you'd open a box of crackers or something up in the old stores, you'd put this in, you'd set it in here and open this up with it, put it in the back of it. It's a free sample. Try a free sample from Nabisco. That's probably taboo now with all the stuff going on. You couldn't do that anymore. But it was neat too. Valentine's, as you know, they had Valentine's. They put out for Valentine's Day. This is one for you need a biscuit. You need a Valentine like me. That little girl's precious, and the you need a biscuit is die cut, sticks out, and they didn't miss a lick. They furnished them the box to send it in, and that was sent to Aurora, Illinois. Still a lady in Aurora, Illinois. She's long gone probably, but that was neat too. I'm going to change in a few minutes and get on the other wall tonight to finish it up. But like I said before, without this gentleman right here, and I mean everyone out there watching this is important. Without you, we wouldn't have a club. Without your collecting and your collection, Nabisco's history would be gone. But all great companies have a history. And National Biscuit Company has a history. And they have the most richest, the most, I don't know what word I want to use, fascinating history of any of the companies in the food business. It started as a dream and about one man, as you know, and turned out to be what it is today, all these years later. This gentleman here, Wayne Guest, this is when he went back to Houston as DSM. He'd been in, I think, world headquarters. He had also, at one time he lived in Nashville as a sales manager, and his kids played with Elvis's kids, Wayne told me one time. But this man right here, Mr. Wayne W. Guest, was Mr. Nabisco. And I treasure his friendship. I never met the man. We talked a lot. Yeah, I was a sales rep. Never did go around Louisville. I never wanted to, really. I turned down a promotion when I first started. Maybe after 4 years, I never did get offered to me again. I think I made somebody mad, which doesn't matter. You know, you do that in business. But anyway, never met this man. I was a sales rep. I never figured I'd meet anybody past the DSM, which is a divisional sales manager. This guy was in Cincinnati. He was part of my problem, but we won't go there. But this man, he was vice president of the company. He not only was my friend, we got to know him real well. He and Sophie and his son, Jerry's been to the house. He became a mentor of ours, and he taught me. If I know anything about the company's history, it's because of him. He saved the history. He was the reason a lot of stuff survived. And I treasure his memory, and I have a lot of his pieces that are priceless. I have from his family. Wayne at one time when he was in, I'd say in New York before they built world headquarters there in East Hanover, when they were in the old cooking channel, which is in, you know, it's now the cooking channel. That was where Nabisco was in the 50s, 40s, 30s, whatever, in New York. He was friends with the president of the company. He knew George Coppers. He knew Lee Bickmore. I think he knew of the one before him anyway. He knew Bickmore and he knew Coppers. One of those two, and he knew Shaberly. And Mr. Shaberly was in the club at one time. He passed away, and that's how come he's not anymore. But one of those three men gave Wayne the original glass negative of the You Need a Kid, which was made in 1901 of Gordon Steele, the You Need a Kid. The negative that Wayne got was the negative that Nabisco treasured. They kept it in the archives forever. The negative that was given to Wayne was the negative that they used for every ad, every piece of advertising they ever put out with a You Need a Boy on it, was taken from this glass negative. When Wayne passed away, his family gave us that negative, and I treasure it. It's a Henry Ford, the first Ford. It's a light bulb, the first light bulb. It's what started the biscuit industry, and the freshness and the packaging. National Biscuit Company, that little boy, 5-year-old Gordon Steele, started on. I have his negative up. I treasure it. I also have 8 or 10 other negatives in with it that was given to Wayne. One of the Sugar Wafer Girl. I got some of the bakeries being built. I've got Guests Are Coming Girl, the glass negative. I've got about 8 or 10 in this package in a dovetail box, and they've been in there for over 100 years. Wayne was entrusted with those pieces, and when he passed away, we got those, and I treasure them. I mean, they're priceless. It's the only one, and I treasure that. So this man was instrumental in teaching me what I know, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about the company. I know pretty much what's out there. I know what, I know value and everything, because we do the newsletter. But I made him back then by collecting, by starting a club. And he told me, I think I've told you in the newsletter, he told me one time, he said, Charlie, I'm gonna take you under my wing and make you the most knowledgeable person alive about the history of National Biscuit Company. Now, whether he did that or not, I don't know. There may be somebody with more knowledge than I have about the company that I don't know about. But I know one thing. When he did it right, and what he taught me, I treasure. I have a case behind me here, you'll see after a while, a bookcase that's full, crammed. There must be 100 books over here with the history of the company. Trade cards, buttons, articles, Zuzu infringement things, the book on Zuzu infringement. It's just book after book that came out of the office of Nabisco, full over there sitting on the shelf. That's where I get a lot of the information for the newsletter, and that's how I can come up with anything I need to know. But this man here can't get enough praise. We miss him. He used to call me after every newsletter. Never missed a phone call. And when he passed away, I lost a good friend, and I know someday I'll see him again. But his family are just the same type people that Wayne was. He's buried in Comanche, Oklahoma. He was cremated and taken back there, and he's buried out there. That's where his family came from. But an absolute gentleman, and I've never heard anything bad about this man. He did fire George Copper's nephew. And he told me when he fired him, he said the guy was worthless. It was Copper's nephew, and he said he couldn't get him to do anything. He was just worthless. So he just decided, I'm gonna fire him. So he touched base with 2 or 3 people up in management about doing it. They said, if you do that, you're gonna be gone. Don't fire that guy. Well, he fired him. He retired as a vice president. This is the type guy he was. We'll get on some other things shortly, and I've got a lot more I want to show you. I don't know how much time I got left on my video. It's a 4-hour video, so I want to show you some things on the back wall. So I'll quit now, and I'll continue tonight and finish it up over on the back wall. Thanks, and I'll see you a little later on some other things.